G'day guys, how's it going? Welcome to vlog number 6. I'm in the van, I've just pulled over. I'm heading to Adelaide. We're going down to have a game of poker. It's a Saturday afternoon. Usually on a Saturday afternoon I'm probably in the pub with a few mates having a few beers, watching the football or at the local football. But I thought I'd have a quiet night tonight. Tomorrow we've got the big Mayweather fight on the big screen in the pub. So I don't want to rock up there with a hangover. So after the Mayweather fight, there's also my Australian rules football team. The Adelaide Crows are playing on the big screen afterwards. So it should be a good afternoon. So I thought I'd have a quiet night. Head to Adelaide. Been driving for just over an hour. Still a bit disappointed from Thursday night's effort where I lost $85 in what I thought was a pretty loose sort of a game. So we're going to go back and give it another run. Tonight the game should be pretty good. It's a Saturday night, so it should fill up. Plus the other Adelaide football team, the Port Adelaide Power, are playing at the Adelaide Oval, which is only about 300 metres from the casino. They will get probably 40,000, 45,000 people there. So a lot of those, well, some of those will come across to the casino when it finishes. So it should get full. 8 tables at the in the poker room. Pretty sure they'll all be filled up by about 8 o'clock at night. What else can I say? Filming. I won't be able to film too much. They don't let you even take a selfie of yourself in there. If you get caught, you get told off. So they're a bit old-fashioned with all that. I'll try and get the camera out and sneak a bit of a video. So it might be a pretty rough video, but I'll try and show you a little bit of the poker room if I can. Also, hand reviews. I still haven't learnt how to put the cards up on the screen. I may have learned how to do that by the time I edit this. If not, I'm definitely going to be talking you through a few hands. I know I've been saying that for a few vlogs, but we're going to start going through a few hands, and hopefully I'll get back to you a bit later on and be winning with a bit of luck.
Nearly 60% reported unprompted comments about their hair regrowth, yet nearly 50% wish they'd started.
So a couple of hand reviews. I'm doing them in the cab. I've got my notes down here. So I figure that's the best way for me to do it. This editing has taken me a long time, probably about 6 or 7, 8 hours to edit each one. And probably the hardest bit is doing hand reviews, but I'm getting the hang of it a bit. But I reckon I can make it quicker if I do the video part in the cab and go through the hands, and then I'll try and stick the cards up on the screen when I get back and edit it. So the game I was in was a 2-2 game. It was a bit loose. There's a few blokes that wanted doing regular straddles. So times there was $4, $8, even up to $16 straddles. So fairly loose game. Guy to my 2 to my left, bit drunk, playing in way too many hands and bluffing a fair bit. So I was sort of waiting to get into a few hands with him. But I was having an okay night at this stage, and I get into a hand with him with King of Diamonds, Queen of Diamonds from the middle position. Under the gun raise to 20, I call, and the guy to my left, we'll call him Bob, the drunk guy. It's easier to call him that. So Bob, 2 to my left, he raises it up to $40. They all fold around to me, and I call. The flop comes down 8 of Diamonds, King of Spades, Ace of Hearts. So I check. I've got middle pair there, and I'm thinking there's a fair chance, probably maybe only a 10 or 15% chance that he's got an ace. So the way he's been betting the night, he was betting all the way through, but he just bets $30. I call. The turn comes 8 of clubs. He bets. I check it. He bets again, $30, and with the rivers, 4 of spades. So I'm sitting there with middle pair. I check it again. He doesn't increase his bets anymore, so maybe I'm thinking he might have it, seeing he hadn't increased. But he bets $30. I call, and he turns over Ace of Spades, 3 of Spades. So he's got top pair there. So I end up losing that hand. So a bit later on, I'm in the big blind. I get dealt ace, 4 of clubs. My drunken mate, Bob, 2 to my left, he raises it to $35. That's in total. Button calls, small blind calls, and I call as well. I then get a very handy flop with it coming down King 310, all of clubs. So looking very nice. Small blind ended up checking. I check because I'm pretty sure my drunken mate Bob's going to have a bet here. So he comes in and bets $45. The button folds, then the small blind calls, and I raise it up to $90 in total. My drunken mate comes along for the ride, and the small blind ends up folding. So I'm looking not too bad here at this stage. The turn comes over 5 of hearts, which doesn't really help. So anyone, well, obviously doesn't help anyone. So this time I go out and bet $50. The guy to my left, Bobby, he comes along for the ride again, another $50. Last card is a 5 of spades, so a little bit worried. I'm pretty sure he can't have trips. He would have raised a bit before. This guy would have got excited having trips. So he hasn't done anything, so I'm pretty sure I've got him here. So I just go straight out, bet $70. I'm thinking that's probably about the most I can get out of him. Might have been too small, not too sure, but bet $70. And he comes along with a call, and he's got King of Hearts, 9 of Hearts. So next hand gets to about 2:30 in the morning, and our table gets closed, and we get split up onto a few other tables. I'm trying to follow the drunk guy, but unfortunately they spread us out, so can't play with him. And I get moved to another 2-2 table, pretty quiet table. But just as I sit down there, a bloke who used to work where I do comes up to me. Didn't recognise me, had his hair slicked back, he had sunglasses on, looked like a right dickhead, which he was at work as well. He comes over, "Hey, Marky Mark," which he used to call me, "gonna take all your money. Hey, come on, good to see you, but I'm gonna take all your money." So yeah, no worries. About 15 minutes later, his table closes, and he comes over to me. And he heads straight for our table. So a bit more about him. He's one of those guys that knows everything. Where I work for a big training organisation. I do the taxi training, but we also do forklift trucks, bobcat, white card, enclosed spaces, cranes. So we do just about everything there is that you can do for business sites, work sites. And they also own 70 taxis of their own. That's why I drive a cab as well, because seeing I'm their training manager, anytime I want to drive, I get a really cheap lease on a cab, so it's worth going out, and I enjoy it. They also have 3 full-time mechanics in their workshop, and this guy was the service manager, so he ran the workshop. But like I said, he's one of those know-it-all guys. Everything had to be twice as complicated as what it needed to be. You'd tell him you need a new set of windscreen wipers for a car, and he'd tell you need a new windscreen. So that sort of bloke. So taking that into mind, he sits down, starts mouthing off again. "Gonna take all your money, Marky Mark. Gonna take your rent money." I quietly let him know that I don't have to pay any rent. I own my house, unlike him. So have a little bit of a stab back at him. But other than that, kept pretty quiet. And it didn't take long for us to both get caught up in a hand together. So I was on the big blind, he was on the button. I get ace of diamonds, king of diamonds, and under the gun plays for the $2, which is a bit unusual. Most of the under the gun people were raising when they played, but he just called under the gun +1 called. My ex-working mate, he raises it to 25. So I put a 3-bet in for $55 straight. Not too sure on my sizing. I think it was about right. Maybe could have been a bit more. Not too sure. You guys can probably tell me. It was only a 2-2 game, so I think it's probably about right. The other 2 guys fold, and the old workmate comes in and calls. So it's just left with the 2 of us. Flops reasonably handy. Comes queen of spades, 10 of diamonds, ace of spades. So I've got top pair, top kicker, guts are straight, and backdoor flush from what I can remember. So I go ahead and bet $60, gets around to the other guy, and he snap all in for about $250. So I go into the tank. I think most times with most of you guys, you probably would have just called straight away. We had a fair bit of equity there, so but I go into the tank. I've been about 230, 240 up most of the night. This was going to put me probably 150 down, roughly. After losing $75 2 nights before, I did really want to go out a winner. Mainly for the vlog, so I didn't look like too much of an idiot. But I go into the tank and start thinking. He's still mouthing off at me and looking pretty confident. So I think that's probably one of the things that I ended up looking at him, but it was mainly because he was a bit overconfident. He did look a little bit nervous when I went to grab the chips once, and I looked at him. He had a pretty nervous sort of smile, and he was acting way too confident. But I just didn't know with him. I didn't think he'd played much cards. For him, a pair of 10s would have been, he would have got pretty excited, I reckon. A pair of queens, he would have got excited and thought he was leading. Ace, any small kicker, he definitely would have been probably raising. So I just read him for not playing much cards. That's the way I saw him, and especially when he wouldn't shut up. So there was that slight chance he could have had 2 pair, ace queen, he could have had trips, but just from what I'd sort of seen of him and the way he'd played a couple of hands, I didn't think he'd played much cards. So I end up calling. He straight away turns over queen 9, and I think he thought he was pretty confident with the queen 9. The way he flicked it over so quick, and so I think I read him pretty well. I turn over my ace king, and I'm in front. So just got to get through the turn in the river now. Luckily they both came up rags with a 7 of clubs and a 3 of spades, so ended up being a nice pot to win. And he did the normal thing. Oh, you're just lucky. So got a bloke taking his top off next to the cab here. Oh, now he's taking his bloody young fella out. Hindley Street, eh? This is the quiet Hindley Street. We'll put this into the vlog. So that's the same falafel house I had my kebab at the other night. So on a Monday night doing my editing, it's a bit quieter. So where was I? Yeah, I ended up winning that hand. I think it was about a $630 pot, so pretty happy with that. Biggest pot I'd won since I've started the vlog, and probably one of the biggest pots I've ever won, so pretty happy with that. So the bloke I work with, he ends up rebuying in for, I don't know, 250 or something. I think he loses a bit more. I get caught with another hand with him a bit later on, where he's got about 190 bucks roughly in front of him, and I was in the middle position. He was at big blind. I get king queen suited, both spades. I raised it to 25, gets back around, everyone else folded, and he ends up playing. Flop comes pretty handy. I get king of hearts, 7 of spades, jack of spades, so I've got a flush draw there. I've got highest pair with a reasonable kicker, so I bet 60 bucks. Gets around to him, he just snap calls it all in with about, I don't know, another 140 bucks or whatever it was. Goes all in. This time didn't have to think too much. I've got a fair bit of equity there, probably thinking I'm still leading with my king and the queen kicker. Also got the chance of the flush coming up, so I call him straight away, and he turns over a king 8 to my king queen. So I've got him at the moment. Again, we get a fairly favourable turn and river with a 2 of hearts and 2 of diamonds coming up, so I end up getting him again. that was the end of him for the night. He packs up, gets up and starts telling me how lucky I am, that I'm just a lucky player. I just played along with him and told him he better go and sort something out about his rent money, and I'll catch him next time. So overall, a good night. Probably glad he rocked up. You just never know who's going to turn up. So it ended up being a good night for me. Cashing out, I think it was 957. I think I'll have it in another section of this video, but just roughly I think that's what it was. So making me $657 up for the night, and a nice win. So we're about to see Hindley Street, the party street in Adelaide on a Saturday night. Here we go. 4 o'clock in the morning.
Hey, 2-0.
We're staying here for the rest of the night.
So a bit busy down Hindley Street, especially the kebab shop, so going to walk back, get in my van and head off home. Grab some Maccas or something, have some sleep when I get home. Got about an hour and 10 minutes drive to get home and get up and watch the McGregor fight. I think it's on about lunchtime here in Australia, so I'll get 4 or 5 hours sleep, go and have a few beers at the pub and watch it.